All right, let's grab some hand pies, some coffee. We're about to get started in just a minute or two. I'm going to grab some friends outside, bring them in. Again, good morning. Grab a snack, a hand pie from Bean and Pie, and some roast house coffee. We're going to begin in just a minute. Or you want to begin now? No. Oh. Hey, happy Friday. Happy Creative Mornings. Woo! Wow. I know it's a little bit different event this month, so thank you for accommodating and being here.
We got Posey, we got Merritt. Yeah, we're calling out who's coming in. Oh, right. Good morning. Welcome to Creative Mornings Spokane. We are so happy to be here. What a view. I've never been this close to a gargoyle, so I think you haven't either. There were a lot of photos happening. So as you know, this is a free volunteer-run event, so we are super happy for our volunteers and everyone who's here this morning. We'll get into that. It's a community-powered event, so it only happens because you're willing to wake up early with us. So thank you for being here. Hopefully you've got your coffee, your hand pies. Let's give it up for those hand pies. Wow. That was a very generous bake-off by Bean and Pie, and we'll talk about them later, too. And now we're going to introduce ourselves. So I'm Daria Pilgrim. I'm the co-host of Creative Mornings. I'm the director of the new Hilliard Creative District, and I'm also an artist. I do Japanese kintsugi repair. And this is...
Hi, good morning. My name is Rose Honey. I'm an artist, an educator at West Valley High School. I teach art and graphic design, and I like to do sculptures, murals, and whatever.
And we're going to have some cool collaborations to tell you about maybe next month or the month after. We're so stoked. I also want to say Eid Shoma Mobarak. So this is the beginning of Persian New Year. We're actually kind of in the middle of it. The spring equinox is the start of Persian New Year. I think that makes a lot of sense for a new year. It's all about growth and new beginnings and sunshine and all the things that are going to grow in our gardens. It's just such a great time to think about renewal. If you think about what's happening in the world these days, or you met my dad a couple months ago, it's a hard time. So find your Persian friends, give them a hug, and do your best to celebrate spring. We're very excited about that. All right, next slide. Oh, I don't have my glasses on. Is that blurry?
I think I figured out why I didn't connect it to Wi-Fi.
Okay, this will pixelate into focus for you. This month's global theme, so each month, all around the world, some chapter picks the theme. We have over 250 chapters, so it could take well over several years to get to pick the theme. But this month's theme, the global theme is locale, chosen by our Santos chapter in Brazil. And the picture that will soon come into focus is illustrated by Simone Matias. In Portuguese, locale means place or being native to a particular area. Santos said about the art, the feeling of loving the city but sometimes moving away, the benefits of belonging somewhere. So we're really curious about the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, again, we're volunteer run, so sometimes I let things slip through the cracks.
Whoops.
But thank you for being here. Maybe say good morning to your neighbor near you if you haven't met them.
Quick, say
Introduce
good morning.
your name.
Okay, I want to know, can I get a show of hands? If you were born in Spokane, can you raise your hand? Whoa. Okay, if your mom or dad was born in Spokane, raise your hand. Woo! Anyone have grandparents that were born in Spokane? Oh, Evan. Great-grandparents? Ah, Brandy! All right, that's amazing. Oh, here's our image.
Beautiful job, wow.
So one of the things we're thinking about today is how does where you're from define who you are? I think about this a lot in Hilliard. Hilliard's creative district exists because the people there loved the place enough to invest in it. And we really believe that this community is happening in neighborhoods, not just on screens. And as a transplant, we moved here from Nashville, Tennessee, almost 2 years ago. I've really enjoyed getting to know the locale of Spokane. So thank you for your warm welcome, and we're so stoked about this topic.
All right. Our activity this month, due to the space, we want it to be a little more digital and interactive. So there's a QR code right here. Or you can go to menti.com if you've never done this. It's just an interactive kind of slide where I want to know. I want you to share your local. A lot of us are from here, but some of us are new. Some of us are visiting. Some of us maybe just moved here a couple years ago and maybe want to know some cool spots. So what's a local spot in Spokane you think everybody should know about?
And if you can't get the QR code, it's menti.com, and the number is what you plug in, 3481-8819.
And then at the end of today's talk, we're going to review what you guys shared. So feel free to plug it in throughout the time you're here.
Okay, it's me. Thank you to our sponsors. We all know that none of this happens without our incredible sponsors, so seriously, thank you. Music today is Darian Rose Throw. If you haven't checked out his work, you should. Our coffee was donated by Roast House. Where's Evan? Okay. Texted Evan at 6:30. We were both up. He was brewing for us. Fair trade, locally roasted. It's up near Corbin Park. Incredible beans. That's what I wrote. Thank you. And speaking of beans, those delicious treats you just had, Tiffany from Bean and Pie. You can find them at New Love Coffee and also at Evans Brothers in Coeur d'Alene. Please.
Thank you, everybody.
It's also me. Okay, so why are we all here at 9 a.m. on a Friday? That is a great question. Creative Mornings exists to build creative community, a place to collaborate, share, and find your people. It's a safe space, and you belong here, whether you're a full-time artist, a weekend hobbyist, or someone who just likes being around creative energy. We also talk about job opportunities. New creatives moving to Spokane have a place to show up every month. And this is how we build a creative ecosystem. So thank you for joining Creative Mornings and for being here. Next slide. Slide. Ooh, by the numbers. All right. Creative Mornings is massive. I know I've been a part of it in all sorts of cities and countries around the world. We are up to 255 chapters. And Spokane was 250, so there's been 5 more since we started. It's in over 70 countries. There are over 20,000 creatives that meet in rooms just like this all over the world on the last Friday, usually. So think about that energy. We're all gathered all around the world right now. There are over 13,000 talks online. So if you're ever doom scrolling and need a break, hop on over to Creative and just find a video. They're all really good. And we've had over 15 million views on those videos, so that's exciting.
All right, we have one lucky friend who's going to read our manifesto today. Megan, will you stand up?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't need a microphone, I'll just talk, right? So, everyone is creative. Creative life requires bravery and action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods, cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you. Again, thank you for being here. Also, share with a friend to come. It's cool when we invite and we build this up. All right, it's just loading. But this QR code looks good. Every time you're here, we have awesome photographers and media team that take photos for you. and us. So today we have Sean here. Say hi to Sean. Thank you, Sean. A lot goes into taking media, to doing photos, to editing that, so thank you. But we like to share that with you. Here's a QR code with access to the Flickr albums we post every month. So you get to see the different photographers and media team that come through here, but also get to see your lovely faces. So yeah, scan the QR code, email me if you hate a photo, and I'll take it down. If you have photos that you've been sharing, you can use the hashtag CMSpokane, so we can all be involved together. I'll be better about posting that hashtag. However, yeah, I think that'd be cool if you guys shared your photos, or if you want to feature a photo, you want to email at us or send us an Instagram. I would love to share that. All right. Our global sponsor is Adobe. Raise your hand if you use Adobe. Most of us oh my gosh, look at that room. That's amazing. Adobe, thank you. They're our global sponsor, and without them, this wouldn't really be possible. Adobe support makes all of our chapters 255 possible. So, next slide, please. What Adobe is doing right now, they're doing a Level Up Season 2, and what this is, if you have Adobe, you can get free online workshops. This helps build your creative career. You can build portfolios. You can have up to 5 portfolios on Adobe portfolios to share all of your work. Many of us do different types of creative work, so maybe you're a photographer who also likes to do sculpting, who also likes to do woodwork. Maybe you can have 3 different portfolios to show your work. Adobe's cool because they give you 5, so thank you, Adobe. Can we give a round of applause for our global sponsor?
All right. We touched on this before. Actually, I'm going to do one quick addition. Something else with Creative Mornings is called field trips. Do we do this later? I can do this now.
You do you.
I'm doing it now. Because I love field trips. So when you sign up for Creative Mornings, you get the newsletter from us. You also get access to the global newspaper of updates. And something that I just think is really special about Creative Mornings is called these field trips. And I was just pulling up my Instagram because I save them every time I see one I love. So on April 1st, there's one, just as an example, called Tactical Urbanism, which is really cool about designing your neighborhood. And the other one that I pulled up is called The Wisdom to Leave, how the wanderer archetype can help you say bye to a life you've outgrown. So when you join Creative Mornings, and if you follow them on Instagram, these pop-up classes come up, and they're all free. And it's people from all of those 250 chapters joining virtually, and the topics are super cool. So those are 2 that I'm definitely planning to take next month.
And tonight, there's one online for if you're experiencing burnout and how to avoid that. So that's going to be really exciting. I'm excited to see it.
There's just so many resources to being part of this global thing. Okay, back to one of the most important slides, our volunteers.
That's you.
This event and team runs on love and our incredible volunteer team. So our core crew, Sean, Kokia,
Doing slides in the back.
slides, printing, all the things. Bailey, right here, she's restocking our hot pies. They make mornings like this happen. And then who else? Was anyone else volunteering today? I know Megan
Our
was.
Megan today
She was on that welcome table. And you from Spokane Review, what's your name? Melissa was helping
thank you,
us
Melissa.
direct traffic. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Christy.
And Christy. So thank you so much. Imagine, and Johnny.
Definitely, Johnny.
It kind of feels like we're planning a wedding every single month, if you think about it. We've got venue, music, food, lighting, photographer, video, editing. We have to pick our outfits. It is so much work, and we love it. And every time, right before we start speaking, we're like, we love this. But it's a lot. So if you want to volunteer, if you have the time to volunteer, we always need help setting up, breaking down, and lots of other stuff. And you can check in with Kokia. She runs a tight ship of really cool volunteers. Thank you.
All right, now's our event time. We collect events throughout the month, and if you don't know that, and maybe you can be like, Rose, you need to do a better job at reminding us. We want to share what cool things you're doing. So here are some of the events that have been shared. First off, tonight, it's a ticketed event at Magic Lantern, 1984 play, Orwell's version of surveillance, and Control comes to life on the stage. PG-13. It's also running tomorrow as well, so tonight and tomorrow. I think it'd be really cool to go support a local theater and a local theater troupe, so please go. Next up, we have the Print Fair, which is kicking off at the Hive. Print Fest.
Print Fest.
No, Print Fair.
It says fair. It's Print Fest. Isn't it Print Fest?
Educate me. Print Fest at the Hive this year. That's exciting. So live printmaking demos from lots of local artists. You get to try interactive printing yourself as well. There'll be door prizes. So go support your local community. Next up, exciting event emerges Throwdown and Cup Frenzy. It's a big pottery fundraiser for Emerge and their creative community, where potters compete in like a throwdown to make mugs. And Jaden, is it ticketed?
Jaden, is it ticketed? Free.
It's free.
It's free.
However, they're going to be selling mugs and cups there for $20 each to support Emerge. So please show up. That'd be awesome.
And we were there yesterday watching people drop off their mugs, and they're
Really
sick.
cool. Okay,
It's
cool.
a great deal.
That's awesome. And let's see, we got one, Hope in the Community, a night of art and musics with RICS. It's a festival-style evening with paint, sipping, watercolor activities. The whole family can come to help support and meet refugees and immigrant connections here in Spokane. And I think this is very important, especially in times right now, and I think we need to show up for our community. So here are some awesome events going on. And then we have some other cool things happening with our local library in the Hive. So
My favorite. The Hive residency. Who in this room has been to the Hive? Okay, who in this room has already been a resident of the Hive? Or is a current one? Sarah and I. Yes.
cool.
Okay, this residency changed my relationship with art. I don't think I ever called myself an artist until I had a studio where people could come visit me and ask me to help them with things. And it really built my confidence and gave me a safe space to create. So the Hive Residency is such a special, special place in Spokane. And their applications are open right now, and they're due April 30th. And with the Hive Residency, you get your own studio. You can decorate it however you want. It's open every Wednesday for Open Studio. So in exchange for free space, you do have to be open on Wednesdays and show off your space. And also teach a community class for free. Where's Mallory? Mallory, Megan's twin, she hosts, her blacksmithing group is in there. And I went and I tried blacksmithing on Saturday. If you're feeling anything about the world, there's nothing better than working with some hot fire and hammering the hell out of it. I made 2 nails. They're very weird. So the Hive is so cool. So apply, but also check them out on Wednesdays and keep up with the calendar at the library because there's amazing free classes that all of these artists are teaching as part of their residency. Okay.
Another really cool thing with the library. If you are or you know a muralist in Spokane, they're doing a call for artists to apply by April 17th to pitch a mural for this community area. Let me make sure I got all my business.
Can I talk about this space?
Yes, please.
This is for Thrive, isn't it? Is this the Thrive build out? So our library is so cool because not only did they build a bespoke art studio space in collaboration with our school district, where's Maddie? And Spokane Virtual. So they co-own, run that space. They're also building immigrant housing. So this mural is a collaboration with the library, our immigrant population, and they want it to be a really welcoming place for everybody. So this is a super important mural, and if it's something that speaks to you, please consider applying.
And share it with friends.
All right, our favorite part. 30-second share.
We got one right here.
This is your moment. We've got 30-second open mic. If you're launching something, celebrating a win, have a local event you want this room to know about.
Hi, I'm Leah. Wow, that's really loud. I'm Leah from Roquehart. I'm going to kind of quadruple dip on the event thing. I'm sorry. April 25th, there are lots of really cool events happening. Steps for Autism is going to be at Ice Age Park, and it is sponsored by SCCU, our local city credit union. There's also the Arbor Day event at Finch Arboretum the same day. And then at Urban Art Co-op, there is the New Artists or Emerging Artists sale, which is an opportunity to get to meet some of the local potters who are just getting started selling their stuff. And then my quadruple dip is the Greater Spokane Parks Challenge. We all know that we do better when we're out in nature. I know that's where my art comes from, is connection to nature. And so if you go out into the parks and you take pictures and you submit them, you can win free stuff all the way till Labor Day. So Greater Spokane Parks Challenge, it's at sccu.net/GSPC. Okay.
Ooh, that's cool. Thank you.
You can also always shoot us a message after this on Instagram to make sure that we have it captured.
You can share it and add it to the newsletter. There's a newsletter support. Do you guys read that? Is what I'm asking.
Do you read the newsletter?
Do you read this?
Would you read it if we put all these events?
Okay, I'll continue to do more newsletters.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alden. I probably don't need the mic. I'm an improviser at the Blue Door Theater and have been there for a long time. We're coming up on our 30-year anniversary of being in Spokane. And actually, the city of Spokane has proclaimed April of this year to be Improv Month. And that's in honor of our third year of doing Northwest Improv Fest.
Alden, question.
Yeah.
Did they just decide that on the spot?
I guess they were working. Yeah. Nice. So April 23rd through 25th is 3 nights of improv shows. There will be 17 improv acts from around the country that applied. We had way more than that apply, so only a tiny fraction are actually coming to perform. A total of 60+ performers across 3 nights. There are also classes that you can take. So if you're interested in seeing some comedy from acts around the country as well as from home, yeah, sign up for that. Thanks. Oh, yep.
Hi, my name is Russ. I'm a graphic designer. I don't usually speak during these because I know that like a lot of people like to promote events, but I have an event for you guys. So I do graphic design, but on the side I do photography kind of just as a hobby and such. And on behalf of We Few Filmmakers of Eastern Washington, tonight there's a camera crawl happening at 6 p.m. at the Garland Theater, going around like the Garland district and such. So if you guys want to meet some like local filmmakers, I'll be there. If you got one of those, or if you got one of these, even come join us, come meet some creatives. I'll be there and it'll be fun. It'll be at 6 p.m. at the Garland Theater. I'll be sure to be out front so that way I can help at least guide people. So, yeah.
Cool. Camera crawl. I got you, Carly.
All right, sick. So who is familiar with the Chameleon? Who's ever been there? Raise your hand. Okay, it's a venue. It's over near the Rosars, over on the west side of town. April 18th, I'll be throwing an event called The Last Wax Disco. So I'll be playing like a bunch of vinyl, a bunch of old stuff like this for 3 hours. I'm gonna try and get people home by 10. It starts at 7. Yeah, see? That's why I do it. So that's my demographic right there. So I'm going to be playing some 70s and 80s music, so think of the Brothers Johnson, think of Diana Ross, other people from that era. And like I said, doors are at 6, 7 to 10. It's going to be fun and dress up. It's, what was that? The 18th. Yeah. And so it's going to be from, that's 30 seconds, sorry.
7 to 10. 7 to 10. All right, Carly, over here. We got one here.
Hi, I'm Carly Ann with Kindling Productions, and we have 12 Minutes Max at the Hamilton Theater on April 15th. Yes, it's a Wednesday at 7 p.m. And what it is like a performance lab where artists audition with a nugget of an idea, and then they have a month to bring it to fruition or get it to a working place. And so it's just a place to check out new work that people are working on. We have live music, dance, spoken word poetry. It's gonna be super fun. $15 online, $20 at the door. So save yourself $5. Thank you so much.
And
In the back.
Maddie.
I don't have an event. I just wanted to brag on behalf of Heads Up Portrait Club and the Spokane community and tattoo therapy. We had an event last month. We did a chili cook-off and art auction for Spokane Community Against Racism. And because everybody showed up, thank you, Bailey, we were able to raise $3,000 for Spokane Community Against Racism. So that's all.
Wow. All right. I forgot to do this last month. Are there any birthdays today or this weekend?
What?
Yeah, I saw that hand, Polly Ann. It's the 31st.
It counts. It counts.
If you had a birthday this month of March, can I get a hands up? Ooh. Okay, we're going to sing you happy birthday really quick.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear all of you. Happy birthday to you.
Woo, thank you. We want to celebrate you, and I'm sorry I forgot last month, so if I missed your birthday, I'm really sorry. All right.
Okay, I think it's time to
It's
introduce
time.
Rob. All right, now for the part. What?
I was singing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-ba-da.
Rob! Okay, now for the part we've all been waiting for. Our speaker today, Rob. Rob! Grew up in small town Kansas. He fell in love with local newspapers and turned that love into a career that took him to the Washington Post, the Las Vegas Sun, the Orange County Register, and brought him home to Spokane. Excuse me. He's built award-winning news sites. Google, Apple, YouTube, and Facebook have all called Rob to solve their problems. Not bad. Now in his 10th year at the Spokesman Review, he's leading something truly radical, community-owned journalism through Comma, the nonprofit that will publish the paper starting soon. We're going to let him talk about that. His philosophy is hyper-local. And after a morning all about locale, there is literally no better person to be in this room. So please give a massive Creative Mornings welcome to Rob Curley.
Thank you, guys. I was first told it would be 30 minutes and then 20 and then 15, and I didn't cut anything. So this is my 14th Red Bull. They're delicious. So we're going to get through all 282 slides. 15 minutes. This is me. This is before I lost my hair. I have the worst hair of any human whose last name is Curley. So I am dressed this way because there's only 2 days out of the year that I would ever wear a tie and a suit jacket. Election day, because democracy means everything to me, and the opening day of baseball. So I grew up in Kansas. I love the Kansas City Royals. And this is a very humbling thing because you know you're going to get your ass beat every year. So if you are a Royals fan, you're a special thing. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about where you're at. So you were on the roof of the Chronicle building. The Chronicle was the afternoon newspaper for over 100 years here in Spokane, and at one point was the biggest newspaper in Spokane. This building was built about 100 years ago, and it was owned by the same family that owned the Spokesman Review. But they ran them separately, so separately that the Spokesman Review had its presses across the street, and the Chronicle had its presses here. They had their own accounting departments. Everything was completely separate, and the two newsrooms hated each other. And I loved that so much. I just love it. So like if one of the editors saw you walk into the other building, they would just quit covering you. And I love that spite. I just think it's so great. I believe in my heart that the Chronicle invented fake news because at the courthouse, the Chronicle and the Spokesman Review shared an office, and the Chronicle would often write fake notes about what happened in the county and leave them on their desk, and the Spokesman Review would come look at it and then publish it. I love this. So the Chronicle, this building gets built about 100 years ago, and you guys have been told a little bit about the gargoyles. I'm going to tell you what they really are. These are called printer's devils, and they date back to the 1500s in Europe. After Gutenberg invented the press, there would be print shops, and the print shops wouldn't have a sign that said print shop. They would have a red gargoyle, printer's devil. There's all sorts of reasons why they thought that. One was before Gutenberg, the way books were made was that priests handwrote them. So the business that put them out of business would be the devil. Their hands were always black, so they were practicing black magic. We still have people in Idaho who think that. I'm just joking. That was just a joke. That's a little joke. I didn't mean that. So when the colonials came, by the way, still in London, there are several print shops that still have the printer's devil at the front. So when the colonials came here, they continued that idea, but they also added, they made their apprentices be called printer's devils. So very famously, Ben Franklin was a printer's devil, Mark Twain, and the reason for that was if their order got screwed up, they could either blame it on the spirit or the kid. So fast forward to 100 years ago, no one was really using this anymore, and about 20 newspapers in North America decided to bring them back. And then they changed the lore one more time and said that they warded off the spirits that would make a press stop. I can find nothing in history that says that. They just made that up. That's not real. I love our printer's devils. I love them so much that I have a favorite one. They all have the same face, but one is better. And I will show you him later. He's over here. I love him so much that during COVID, I put a mask on him to keep him safe. During the winter, the maintenance crew shovels a path to him so I can see him every day. I love him. And I love to take selfies with him. We'll do this later if you want. This is and what's funny is if you come up to the roof with me and we talk about the gargoyles, I have special gargoyle stickers that our artist Molly Quinn made, and the only way you can get them is to hang out up here with me. So you all qualify. So now I'll actually get to talking. So all I've ever wanted to do is be a journalist. I mean, this is it. In the third grade, I wanted to be a journalist. So I've had no luck with women since I was 11. I mean, right out of the gate, I'm like, look, I'm going to be a nerd. No fireman here. Nerd. But I was very focused, and had got to do all the things I wanted to do. And when I finally got out of college, I was in college for 7 years. I have 136 hours with no degree. I had some tension problems. I finally got to work at my first newspaper. It was in 1996, so it was 30 years ago. Most of you weren't here. But something weird was, something was different about me than other journalists in our newsroom. I worked at a newspaper called the Topeka Capital Journal. It's about the exact same size as the Spokesman Review. And one day, our editor came up to me and said, "You're using email." And I said, yeah. Do you know how it works? Yeah. Do you think you could build a website? Yeah. So let me tell you a secret. If anybody answers a question an octave up, they're lying. So like, did you like the new Star Wars movie? Pretty good. Can you build a website? Yeah. So I went to Barnes & Noble. Do y'all know what a Barnes & Noble is? Okay. Sometimes I speak at high schools, and they're like, what's that? So I bought an HTML book. And 6 months later, the Topeka Capital Journal's website was named the best website in the world. We'd beaten the New York Times, Washington Post. Don't feel too impressed. There were only like 5 websites, way a long time ago. So in that era, I had something special because I was a nerd. So it took me a while to figure this out. I'm a quarter nerd on my mom's side. So what we did then is we realized that there were about 5 newspaper journalists in America who could write sentences and code, and I was one of them. So that changes everything. I get promoted out of my maturity range very young, like way beyond my mental capacity. But you have to understand the internet was way different. Everything that was being done, it was the first time it was being done. So the team I worked with, we helped invent many of the things that you do on the internet. And some of them I'm embarrassed about, like, comments on the bottom of stories. They weren't supposed to be for assholes. It was supposed to be to democratize the news and so that people could comment. And then I realized no matter what we write about, it's going to turn into Mexican immigration. So I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean, that was not why I put comments on. So little things like that were always happening. I'll talk more about those. But there was no Google Maps, no iPhone. See, the iPhone changed how the internet worked. Before then, everyone talked about internet usage, but it wasn't until we had an always-on high-capacity device that you could take with you to the toilet that the internet caught on. This is why whenever somebody hands me their phone, I'm like, no, I'm good. You just hold it. iPhone's about 13 years old. That's when the internet changed. We think the internet is much older than that, and it is, but it didn't become mass until the iPhone. There's no Spotify back then, no e-commerce, no Uber Eats, and the biggest social app was Friendster. Do any of you know Friendster? Okay, good, because I was going to vomit. So here's the thing. I love journalism and technology, and I got to do that. So one of my favorite places I got to do this early on. So early on in my career, they figure out I can do this, and I get asked to build the first Major League Sports site. I was asked to go to Augusta, Georgia to build the Masters Golf website. So I spent a couple years there building that. But I was super homesick for Kansas, and I came back to Lawrence, Kansas, where we started working on a bunch of things. I got to work in this beautiful newsroom, and if you don't know what this is, that's a Jayhawk who is John Brown. John Brown, we would now call John Brown a terrorist because he was a Kansan who would go across the state lines to Missouri and kill the slave owners to free all the slaves. So we made him a hero. We're like, terrorism? I don't know. So this is who guarded the front of our newsroom, which was good because that kept all people from Missouri away from us. So we were doing stuff that no one had done before, so much so that New York Times spent a month with us and ended up writing a story on their front page called The Newspaper of the Future. And it blew up, and every single member of our team gets hired away. But I want to show you what we did, because this is where the idea of local. I always loved local. When I grew up, my family didn't have a lot of money, but we did read 3 newspapers. In the morning, we read the Topeka Capital Journal, which was mostly just state local news. And then in the afternoon, we got the Emporia Gazette, which was like more down to just our county local news. And then every Wednesday, we got the Osage City Free Press, which would lead the paper with who visited who at the nursing home. So those were the stories that I grew up reading. I never grew up reading the New York Times. I didn't even grow up reading the Kansas City Star. Everything that I read was local, and that burned into me. So the way we were pretty nerdy. So one of the things we did is when KU, the Jayhawks, were going to reseat their arena. They have a very famous arena called Allen Fieldhouse, and people who've had their tickets have had them since the 50s. And they were going to reseat the whole thing. And we quickly, we invented a language called Django. And Django was shorthand so that we could build things very fast. So in the scope of one day, everything I'm going to show you was built. So it says they're doing this, and then we had this calculator. If you answered every question on this calculator, it would tell you how many points you have. And then it would show you what points you had related to the new seats, and it would show you where your new seats are going to be. And then we use technology. I don't use it as much as I used to anymore, but we call it internology. Have you heard of that? It's where you have an intern set in 16,000 seats, take a picture, so that you can then show the view of the court. Internology is badass. It's a good thing. And we had all of the documents that supported all this. So the day the story breaks, we could tell you where your new seats were going to be, and people were pissed. I love when journalism completely pisses people off at the man. You know, it makes me so happy. But it was also very local. I love baseball, and we were so local that we covered Little League like it was the major leagues. We brought in a bunch of interns from around the country. I mean, from the biggest journalism schools in the country, and they're so excited because we get written about all the time. They're like, "What are we going to do?" And like, "We're going to have you cover T-ball." So we built these massive databases, and we covered every single Little League game in the entire city. Every single one of them. And then we had, and for every single team, we had all of their schedules. We had every schedule for every game, every field. You could see it was everything. And we had steerable 360-degree photos of every field. This is like in the early 2000s. You know, this is a long time ago. But every team's schedule's up there, and if they won or lost, and you could sign up for cancellation alerts. Now, this is before this was fancy. You know, this is text alerts is anything now, but you put in your team, and we would text you if your game had been canceled. So then the coverage would be like, you know, we also had all the rules because they were all different, but the coverage was my favorite because we would take photos every day. We would send 2 photographers, and we would do the interviews with the kids and write game stories from the kids. And my favorite thing is, until you've heard a third grader do this, you're like, wow, you're hitting 800. I mean, it's amazing. And the third grader would go, yeah, I know. When I get up in the batter's box, the ball looks like a grapefruit. I just can't. It's just so big. How could I miss it? And I'm like, dude, this kid's going to be awesome. You know, I mean, if you're already using sports euphemisms at 12, you're on. So we covered them all, you know, and then every week we picked the players of the week, and we built interactive virtual baseball cards of them, had interviews. This is a long time ago, right? So this is what local looked like. We built the internet's very first mega sports site, and it was funny because when we launched it, we were tired of beating all the small newspapers in America. So we entered it in the large market category, and we beat all of them, including ESPN, for the best sports site in the world. And this site was really crazy. One of my favorite things is, you see this weather? So it was built to the stadium, and we could show you what the weather is and the wind was blowing. But if it was blowing south, that was coming from Burrito King. And we warned you that there was bad air alerts. We really did. It was so funny. So all of the games are sold out. So it would see if you want tickets. It would bring up. You would click it, and it would show the phone number for a scalper. I mean, we were pretty wily. So we built the very first custom stats database. This was the first time anyone had seen a live database, and it was so vibrant. It was for every single player in all of college. No one could figure out how we did it, and we weren't going to tell people because it's elfin magic. So then you went to the roster, and you could click on everything, and it would bring all of their updated stories, their stats, everything. And one of my favorite things is it would also bring up all related stories. So you didn't want to do that because every jock had all of their arrests. It was incredible. So this is what we were building, and it was, you know, even for basketball, it was all this deep. And then you can see the click to see the field. This one was more fun because this was 42,000 seats, and I love making a kid from Berkeley do that. I just can't get it enough. It feels so good. So then after every game, we would animate the plays that happened so you could see how they worked. And this is how we were doing things. So this is a long time ago, but now you can see what it was like to build the internet with no adult supervision. So like I said, we all got hired away. I ended up being hired to go to Scripps, where I helped build all their local newspaper websites and HGTV.com and the Food Network, food.com. I helped build those websites. Then I got hired away to go to the Washington Post, where I became vice president of R&D, and that's where you really can get in trouble because people will answer all your emails. In the early days of the internet, we were all friends. Nobody saw a difference between us and Facebook. So that's the people I hung out with. That's why they said I would get these calls from people. So, and I remember the one time that Don Graham, who was the publisher of the Washington Post, said, "We really want you and Mark to speak." And I went, "Zuckerberg?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Does he still wear Axe? Because the last time I saw him, he smelled like a high school locker room. Drives me crazy." So every time I see Zuckerberg on TV, I just go, "God, that guy smells." So we were all friends. So we didn't know who was going to win, so we all hung out. I mean, I gave tech talks at Google. It was had a very interesting relationship with Apple that I'll get into. So when I was at the Washington Post, we built this video blog that became the Apple's podcast of the year, but it was also the first time video had been used in that way, including full screen video. And a friend of mine at Google calls me one day and he says, "Rob, how did you do that full screen video thing?" And I said, "Oh man, it's a hack. Windows sucks." So what we did was we wrote it so if you click on this button, it tricks Windows into thinking the resolution is different, and then it just centers that video within the smaller resolution, and it's the illusion that it's full screen video. And he goes, that's great. We've bought a site you might not have heard of. It's called YouTube, and we're getting ready to integrate it, and can we have that code? And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's just a little JavaScript. I'll email it to you." A couple of days later, Washington Post Legal reminded me that I didn't own that code. They did. So I just love giving it away. So a long time ago, I was in an Apple commercial. That's what I look like too. Good God. So Steve Jobs used to present the new products at something called Macworld. And he did it every year. And the last 2 years Steve Jobs was alive, I was the opener. So that was, and the funny thing is, what was Steve Jobs like? I don't know. I didn't get to meet him. He was an asshole. So, but I did love Apple products. So yeah, I'm going to show you a little bit of this commercial, but I need you to understand this is before the iPhone. Because you're going to see devices in here that most of you have never seen before.
I don't like to focus on the technical aspect of anything. I like to overcome it so that I can just focus on the aesthetic aspect. So Final Cut's been easy enough that I can do that. But then when I do want to think about taking it to another technical level, there are like little tricks I can teach myself. I kind of think of like On Being as a project about voices. I just felt there was something to interacting with someone.
On Being was our big video project that won Podcast of the Year.
Not something you can
at
capture
Apple.
either in print or in a still photograph.
If I'm not in a good mood or anything, if I listen to music, that's all. I forget about everything. I feel very happy.
What impressed me about this when Jen showed it to us the first time was there's a real opportunity here for sort of appointment viewing. Roll one of these out every week at the same time, and you really start to build an audience. So we think it's a new model for us in terms of having a show, essentially. We have the opportunity to compete with CNN on video now, and we beat National Geographic and MTV to win an Emmy this year. These are traditional sites that have a lot more experience in broadcast.
I guess wisdom's in the eye of the beholder. We're still in that first decade, just as radio at one point was in our first decade and television was in the first decade. And I feel like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Our team has been using Apple for a long time. It's just second nature, It's not like, how did it make it easier? It was just a part of what we do. I mean, we hadn't even thought about it. This is just how we work. If you want it rolled up in paper on a rubber band and thrown on your driveway, great. We know how to do that. If you want to get it on your web browser, great. We're great at that. If you want it on your iPod, that's great. Do you want to read a story on an iPod, or would you rather listen to the news in a podcast format? Because it shouldn't be about the device. It should be about the information. So we want to try to make the Washington Post be not about the paper in newspaper, but about the news.
Yeah, it's totally weird. It's totally weird. I was the one who helped write the first Facebook app. And it's because I've been building mobile sites forever. And I get a call from Mark saying, could you help us? And I said, but I have problems with your site, Mark. You have a feature called poke. And I don't think poke means what you think it means. So it starts there. I'm confused at that moment on with this site of yours. But I'll build it. That first Facebook app sucked. I didn't like Mark. So let's talk Spokane. So look, I come here. Nothing makes sense in Spokane. I usually give a presentation called Nothing Makes Sense in Spokane, and it's a love letter to all these things that people who've lived here their entire lives, they don't even know. You were talking about parks. Do you want to know why our parks are good? If you look at all the taxing entities in Spokane County, and you look at their budgets and you see what percentage of their budgets are spent on parks, we have the highest percentage of tax dollars of any city in America aimed at parks. That's why we have 86 parks, and they're pretty good. Like, if you go to Cannon Hill, like, that's a great park, right? It's not even the best park within 2 blocks. Our parks make other cities' parks, look gross, So that's the sort of things I would tell in my presentation. And I tried I'm like, look, Austin, you keep Austin weird. I think this should be our. And I said, and if it would help, you put me on there. I'll be fine. So I want to talk to you about content types, because forever I got to see behind the scenes what was really being read, because I've been building websites for 30 years. So I got to see things that I shouldn't see. And you've heard of the dark web? It's just my backyard. So if you've ever lost your pen, just tell me. I'll go get it for you. I understand how it works. And I also worked at big newspapers that could afford very big polling. So I understood what people were really doing. And the fascinating thing is that most newspapers don't do that. So content falls into 5 areas. Do you understand what your community is passionate about? It's different in every single community I've ever worked in. So when I was at Orange County, they really cared about real estate and tourism. When I was in Las Vegas, this is a little bit counterintuitive, but people who live in Las Vegas care about the Strip, all those casinos, even though in a million years they would never go to any of those, because their bakery fails if Mandalay Bay closes. If the new Cirque du Soleil show stinks and they lay off 400 people, that means one of the grocery stores is going to have to. So the business of that is really important. So everywhere I go, I spend 6 to 8 months figuring out all the statistical things that work here. Do you guys want to know what it is? So there's one thing in Spokane that works whether you live on South Hill or up north or Airway Heights or the Valley. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. You can be poor or you can be rich. Doesn't care what your religion is. You can be Christian, Catholic, Wiccan. It doesn't care. What's that? Marmots. No, marmots are good. Have you ever tried to cook one? Yeah, you can't microwave them. That's like a crock pot thing. Yeah, you got slow. It's a slow cook. So it's Gonzaga basketball. Even if we don't care about the team, we follow the team because we know all of our damn friends are going to talk about it. And this is real. So like when you go to Rose Hours, you have somebody checking you out wearing a Gonzaga shirt. They didn't go there. Let's go to what the hell? What's the city that Duke is in? That was Durham. Let's go to Durham and ask their people what they think of Duke. They will say that's where the rich kids go. We hate them. In every private college city in America, that's the response. I've never lived in a city where people cared about the private college, and it's because there's one thing that communities have to have. They have to have a unifier, and people always ask me, what is the hardest story you've ever had to cover? Well, I mean, I had to cover the Freeman shooting, which was awful. But on the heels of the Freeman shooting was Gonzaga making their first their first Final Four, and they played the national championship game, and they lost. And that was the first year we had Trump as the president, and you could just feel how divided the community was, except for around this team. And I needed that team to win because with each win, I could see the community becoming closer and closer together. And there's a defining moment in every city's history. Has something happened in your town that when you drive in and the city limit is, there's a sign that says home of the 2017 National Debate Champions or whatever. Like whatever it is, when those moments happen, they bring the town together. And I could just feel how broken we were after that first election, and I could see us coming together. So that was sad for me, not as a sports fan, because I was seeing how it was uniting people who wouldn't normally be united. So practical. Look, journalists don't like to do practical stories because they're never going to win an award, but we got to be honest. Our city has no idea how to plow. So if it snows, and if I don't do a story on how to do the arterials or whatever, you're going to die. So where do you get good donuts? Where do you park downtown? Like, I love practical stories. I love things that, look, our lives are complicated, and we really need to be given an instruction manual, and no one does it. So every day I try to publish something that acts as an instruction manual, like, and here's how we're going to do this. So that personal. Every day, all of us are flooded with statistics and facts. And so many that we don't even absorb them anymore. It's like Teflon. And then starting, 10 years ago, we started having alternative facts. So now we have facts and then we have bullshit facts. And we don't pay attention to any of them. So what our writers are told is that for every major fact, every major statistic in your story, you have to find a human who represents that. Because a reader will remember humanity. They'll remember their neighbor, but they'll forget the stat. So if it's important, make it human, make it personal, make it about us, playful. Look, when I was at the Washington Post, I reported directly to Don Graham, and I would always ask him these history questions. And I said, so when your grandfather bought the Washington Post on the steps of bankruptcy court, it was the number 5 newspaper in Washington. And he was a great, smart man. He ran the hell out of it for 2 years. It was still the number 5 newspaper in Washington. And then he gave it to your dad, and in 6 months, he made it number 1. That was with incredible journalism, right? He goes, no, Rob, we went from 1 page of comics to 3 page of comics. We've been number 1 in Washington, D.C. ever since. He said, Rob, never screw up the crossword puzzle. Never screw up the crossword puzzle. He said, Rob, do you know what your secret power is? And I said, yeah, I can write sentences in code. He says, no, your superpower is that you teach people facts by making them laugh. That's your superpower. When you become an editor over a paper, use that. So that's why sometimes you open up a Spokane Review and you're like, I don't know that they meant that. We did. So, and then there's pleasure. Look, there are these things that we do in life. We work so hard for 40 hours, and it's so we can do these things that mean something to us. And there typically aren't things that make humanity better, but they make us better. And it took me a long time to I had an idea what it was here, and then after my first 6 months, it hit me because I would speak everywhere. And I'd give people my card, and I'm like, what do you do? And some of them would say the normal thing. They would say teacher or accountant. But most would say, I like to go hiking. We like to get outside, we go boating. And then I started to realize more than half the people I introduced myself to defined themselves by what they did on the weekend, not what they did on the week. And everywhere I'd work, I'd never seen that happen before. And 95% of what they said they cared about was outdoors. This makes sense. The average household income in Spokane is very low. It's almost $50,000. That's not per person. That's average household income. That's why our 86 parks have to be great. There's these things that matter. We took pleasure in where we lived. That's why we keep it the way we keep it. So, by the way, these are not newspaper strategies. Every successful business you've ever seen does these things. There's something else called serve, save, and serendipity. How do you serve your customers? How do you do things that save them, whether it's saving time or saving their lives? We just posted a story today we've been posting on it for 7 years, and we did a joint investigation with the Washington Post from our investigation that showed that the VA was using software that was killing their patients. Well, today was the first, so we've been covering this for 5 years. We have. Why? Because they debuted this software in Spokane. And there's just enough nerds in my circle that we love a good IT story. And we started to develop it, and we'd write a story, and there'd be a congressional hearing. Well, today, the person who did that, we found out that he took a bribe to do it, and he's been indicted. And there's still not a hot enough place in hell for that guy. Saved. We should serve, save. And the last one is serendipity. This is the most important one. Look, people's lives are shitty. If you can do something to surprise them and delight them, and especially in a way they don't expect, they'll remember that. Serendipity is so important, and it's a business model. I'll tell you who used to do it well, and then I'll tell you who does it really well. It used to be that when you walked into Target, you just walk in, and then you see that bullseye thing with the $1 area, and you're like, I don't need to go. But I just need to see if they have the little things of sunflowers that you water and you put in your window, and I'd like a new set of Mickey ears. Next thing you know, you put like 10 things from the dollar thing in your basket. Wrap it up. I'm not even halfway through. Okay, all right. And then you look over to the right, and they have all those like 19-pound bags of chips and the 22-gallon thing of paste, and you're like, look, it's $2. Well, you're now less than 200 feet into that building, and you're filled with endorphins. The dopamine is running wild. You just went in there to get a bottle of Jergens, and you're about to spend $350. Serendipity did that. Now the best form of serendipity that I've ever seen is Costco. You walk in there, you have no idea what you're going to see, and you love it. I'm walking every aisle. I love it when people come to me and say, well, we made a list for Costco, and I'm like, that's so cute. You don't make a list for Costco. Costco tells you what you want. So this is what works. So I wanted to show you what this looks like. So we have, this is 6 weeks worth of papers. We have 3 of the 5 best designers in the country. Amazing. All local, every day. You've never seen a newspaper look like this. It's because we're trying to build a newspaper for the Instagram world. What if it's local journalism, but it looks fantastic? And look, I love weather. I would write about weather every day if I could. And then you see these moments of where we embrace high school sports in different ways. And then you see things like, see that debate primer? That was no one had written, like, here's the basics of this debate, but there's that little bingo card. You see that? We wrote a note that said, let's all keep track of the things that aren't real and see who has the most unreal shit. So if they talk about any of these things, this is not an issue. And people were doing it. But this is how you use humor to make a lesson. So why is this important? When I would go out to eat when I was younger, we didn't have a lot of money. So we would go to a steakhouse. And we did it right. We ordered steak, medium, because anything else is beef jerky. And then you get mashed potatoes because, don't be weird, mashed potatoes are delicious. And every time they'd bring the plate, there'd be my steak, and here's my potatoes, and here's the broccoli. I didn't want broccoli. I didn't order broccoli, but the chef knew I needed broccoli. And I ate the broccoli. You write about where to get good ice cream and why the Gonzaga team is going to beat Pacific by 962 points, so that they'll read the VA story about why they were killing these people. You give them what they want so they'll consume what they need. So we have very meaningful engagement. I'm going to run this. So 4 minutes, or am I getting 4 minutes? Please, got 4 minutes? It's worth it, trust me. We started Northwest Passages. I remember Stacy Coles, he was so excited because he knew in my second year we were going to introduce our social strategy. And I'd helped build big social media apps. And he goes, what's yours going to be? And I said, hear me out, a book club. I thought he was just going to start crying right in front of me. Only we can get every major author to come to Spokane. And we put them in 700-seat theaters that are sold out. This is unlike anything you've ever seen. And we talk about all these issues, and it's amazing. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's always been about community. Not just the stories of the people or the region, but understanding. When you name your newspaper the Spokesman, your role is different. The Spokesman Review, with lifelong relationships that began on porches across the Palouse each morning, suddenly mattered in new and different ways. So, how does a regional newspaper become the smallest in the nation with its own DC bureau? Or have one of the country's highest rated sports sections? Or be the only local paper to cover NASA's March launch? Or build the only paid high school journalism internship in the nation? How did a small newspaper start one of the largest civic engagement series in the nation? And along the way, have one of the largest newspaper-based book clubs anywhere on the planet? The answer is the same as to why the Spokesman Review is about to become one of our nation's first community-owned daily papers. It's about community. It's about being proud to be our hometown's newspaper. It's not about right, and it's not about left. It's about us. It's about neighbors and the things we all care about. That's where the Comma Community Journalism Lab fits in, and why the name matters so much. Since grade school, we've been taught the comma is our language's great connector. It connects ideas inside of sentences while giving us a chance to take a pause. The idea behind comma becomes a reality later this year when it will begin to publish the Spokesman Review as a nonprofit. Comma will begin to help and even bring back smaller news organizations we'd forgotten how much we loved. And along the way, they will have a newfound relevance and unprecedented support. In a world with so much misinformation, Comma is here to form unlikely connections. It's here to focus on transparency and trust. This will be the people's paper. That's why having you here matters. This all started with our community coming together 8 years ago for our very first Northwest Passages. It's always been about coming together to have the tough conversations other communities rarely have. Commas connect different ideas. That's exactly what we'll do again now. This is how you go from being a community newspaper to being the community's newspaper. This isn't our newspaper. This is your newspaper. This is the story of you, which is why it starts with you right now. So I want to invite you guys to some of these. So this is the next one, and if you can't afford the $7 ticket price, come see me, and I have a code that will get you in for free. They're going. Willie was going to be interviewed by Jess Walter, so it's going to be PG-13 because he really loves words that rhyme with duck. So. Shelley Van Pelt and Remarkably Bright Things. Look, we announced this, and the first tier tickets that were unrestricted sold out almost immediately. Now you have to buy tickets tied to getting the book too, but it's going to be amazing. There's a new Netflix show coming out, and this is going to be in celebration of that, and the only place she's coming is here. Craig Johnson, the Longmire books, they're amazing, and he is the smartest man you've ever met who wears a cowboy hat. I love him. I love him so much. This is me dressed as a prisoner of Longmire. So our book club is so big, other newspapers have us go to their towns to run for them. So here's me with Craig Johnson in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's it. That's all I was going to tell you about.
Thank you.
It's for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we just have a couple things to wrap up here.
Yeah, there is a raffle cup right there. Get your raffles out.
Get your raffle tickets out. We have some cool art we're going to raffle off. 3 lucky winners. Okay. So, raffle number 1, 475260. 260. It's a ghost. I'm going to keep going. 259, right before 260. 259? Okay, I'm going to mix it up here. Let's go to the bottom here. 251. Yay! Okay, coming back at you. Okay. 246. Maddie! Madeline right here. 235. Oh my gosh. Who grabbed tickets and doesn't have it? 252. Yay! Caitlin. 238. Oh, right up here. Okay, we have so many t-shirts. 240. 240, right there. You want to grab the art? Yeah, we've got art too. All right, 247. Yay! And 245. Oh, this is fun. We have a couple more here. Okay, 2 more t-shirts, right? Okay, 244. Yay! If you've never won a raffle, this is the biggest one we've ever seen. Okay, 256. Yay! Okay, now we've got some rad art. Okay, first up.
We have this beautiful Riso printed artwork from Kokia over here. We're in this together. So, our lucky winner is
250. Yes! All right, Megan, Rogue Heart cleaning house back here. Okay, 257. Tell them what they're getting, Rosie.
It's a lovely bust with lots of colors. So, welcome to your...
Okay, 257. Oh, that... Last one. 237. Yay! One more piece of art. Yay! One more. Let's for next time. Let's do one more. 254. Yes. Oh, the couples who win. Okay. First of all, we still have some hand pies, and we'd really like them to be gone before Tiffany picks up because she was so generous. So please, there's hot egg ones with all sorts of veggies or savory in the kitchen, and there's sweets down on the plates. Please take a hand pie.
And then that men's meeting thing we did where you got to share your favorite spots. Guess what? Max 30 people. So sorry if you were trying to do it and it didn't work. But I will share that stuff since we're out on time. I know you guys got to start your Friday. I'll share it in the newsletter when it's sent out.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you for coming.
I'll walk you to the places the public's not supposed to go. So, yes, the gargoyles. So the gargoyle stickers are here. And I also have postcards from the Chronicle that were 100 years old that show. Yes. Yeah.